Hi, it's Dr. Steve from Misericordia University, and welcome to Exploring Technology Tools for Tracking Student Behavior, part of our classroom management course. Recently, in our in-person classes, we considered several models for addressing classroom management issues that occur during instruction. We looked at the performance barriers of Mager and Pipe, and then we looked at reasons why students misbehave or don't do what we ask them to do in the classroom, the work of Walker, and we looked at some other pieces as well. Today, let's start by just reviewing that work briefly, and then let's explore some apps that support classroom management. You may recall that we started looking at this line of research by looking at the work of Mager and Pipe from 1997. And you know me, I like to start off with some historic research, some seminal research to show that these thoughts started a while back and they have been built upon over the years. So when we looked at Mager and Pipe's work, we found that they identified and analyzed three major performance barriers. In other words, things that will prevent students from doing what we ask them to do. And Mager and Pipe said, well, look at whatever the student is doing and look through this lens. It could be a skills or knowledge deficiency. Maybe the students don't know how to perform a particular task, and that can be a barrier to them. Maybe it's a motivational issue. Maybe they don't have a sufficient enough reason to see enough value in the task, whether it's an intrinsic reason or we're not rewarding them enough extrinsically, but somehow it's a motivational issue. Or it could be a resources issue. Maybe the student doesn't have sufficient materials, or they don't have enough time, or they just didn't put in enough time to do this. Maybe they feel overwhelmed. Somehow it could be a resources issue. So the bottom line is Mager and Pipe say, well, look through those lenses, three different ways that you could view this, and see if that one of these things is the source of the student's problem. And then we take steps to address those particular issues or that particular issue. And they also caution us to realize that students themselves don't always realize what the source of their issue is. Moving up to more recent research, we looked at the work of Walker. And Walker said that students misbehave or don't do what we ask them to do for one or more of four different reasons. Maybe they're seeking power. Maybe they don't feel adequate. Maybe they want to get even with somebody. Maybe they're looking for attention and they're just not getting that attention elsewhere. Then we spent some time in class trying another system. This is based on the work of De Bruin and Larson, and the product line is called You Can Handle Them All. And I suggested that this is the kind of product that, as opposed to a textbook, a teacher might actually carry one of these tools into the classroom and check them in between classes. Like this becomes a very valuable and dynamic resource for the teacher. So when we look at You Can Handle Them All, we found that this research culminated in 124 different management strategies based on different behaviors. And the behaviors were in four categories. They were seeking attention, seeking power, seeking revenge, or maybe it's a self-confidence issue. So with You Can Handle Them All, whether you're using the app form or you're using the printed book form, or if you're using the action cards where all the behaviors are listed on separate cards, and we looked at all of those forms in class, this is how you use the system. You may recall. We start by identifying the underlying reason or the primary cause. Is it attention seeking? Is it power? Is it revenge? Or is it a self-confidence issue? And then look through, in that category, look through the different behaviors that are listed and select a behavior that seems to describe the issue that you're seeing with that student or those students. When you select and open that behavior, then read the description of the behavior to better understand it. And then you can read one of the two next sections, which is the primary purpose of the system, is to determine some techniques, some methods, some procedures, things you can do and you can try immediately. And also, you can read the next section, what are some mistakes to avoid? So some good things you can possibly do as interventions, and also some things you don't want to do because they may backfire on you. Let's take a look at a quick demo of the product in review. So to review, let's take a look at the You Can Handle Them All app on the iPad. So here the app is opening. There's some good description information here about how to use the app, how the system works, and about their research. And then you'll see the 4 different categories of behavior. So I'm going to start off with attention seeking because many times that's going to be the underlying cause of the issue. So I look through and I see all of these kind of funny at times listings and descriptors of what the person is, what the person's behavior is all about. So I can look through this relatively quickly and locate what I'm looking for. Like, is my student the gossip? Is the person using a foul mouth? Are they the class clown? Well, that's a common behavior. I'm going to click into class clown. So you can see that for all of these cards, all these separate pages, we have a description and a little background on why this behavior might be happening. Then we look at a hit list of possible tools or techniques that we can use. So in the case of the class clown, we've got 7 different possibilities here. Now, it doesn't mean that all of them will work in your situation, but you've got 7 to choose from. And then we've got some mistakes that you can avoid, these things you don't want to do because you may make the problem worse. And then to tie all of these different behaviors together, there are some related behaviors underneath. So in the case of the class clown, maybe really you've got the show-off or you've got the con artist. So that gives a little idea of how we can use this system, and we can hyperlink out and branch out and really understand what's going on. We're going to gain more insights into what's going on and get a list of practical strategies as to what we can do to try to rectify and address those situations. Now, let's start considering some different apps that a teacher could use for tracking student behavior and also for supporting classroom management. The first app we'll consider is a classic app. It's been around for a number of years and it has really stood the test of time. It's ideal for use with middle level in terms of secondary ed, and also very good for the early childhood, for elementary grades. So as high as middle level we could go using this app. The nice thing is the cost is free and it allows teachers to keep track of student participation, certainly attendance, and different behaviors. And it allows you to also maybe display this to younger students, these behaviors, to encourage them and also to discourage some negative behaviors or behaviors that need some improvement. And it also allows teachers to communicate easily with families. So let's take a quick demo of this app. So let's take a look at the Class Dojo app, which is behavior tracking software. So of course I'm on my iPad, so this is very, very good for mobile use. Let's enter the app and take a look at it. Now, first of all, you have to realize that we're going to be, as a teacher, we're going to be teaching while we use behavior tracking software. So it has to be streamlined. It has to have a very nice, user-friendly user interface. And I believe this app does. First of all, notice that we've got our classes listed on the left. I'm going to click into demo class. So these are all false students at this point. Let's start by taking a look at the interface, how easy it is to work with, and what we can do with this app. So I'll begin up in the upper right with their menu. So notice that right here, in one location, it's easy to invite families to connect through this app. You can connect students in there, add some other teachers. You can edit different aspects of the app. And they also have other interesting things like Dojo Island, which is a collaborative space for basically for younger students. So again, for our purposes in secondary ed, this app would be ideal for use with middle level, with our younger students. So that's the menu in the upper right. Let's look at the bottom. So the very first icon is taking us back to this screen with all the students listed. The second icon is taking us to the class story. And this is really like a discussion board, social media type platform. Notice it's giving me a nag screen because I did not connect any parents to this app yet. Well, again, I can't because these are false students, they're demo students. But once I invite them, then I can fill out what's happening, and we can start keeping everybody in the loop as to what's going on, including taking pictures of different projects and things that we're doing, and so on. On the right-hand side, we see an icon that's going to allow us to easily message families, so we can send messages out there, and also notifications as well. So I'm going to go back to our first icon so we can see all the students. So what exactly can you do with this app? Well, the ideal here is that we can track behavior. Notice there are some point values added and taken away at this point. I can always reset them if I wanted to, but I'll keep them as they are. I can select a group of students if I wanted to. To begin with, I'm going to start with one student. I'll click on Cameron, and Cameron, we've got positive behaviors, and we've also got some needs work behaviors. Now notice it says edit these skills in each of these screens, because these are the starters, but we can make our own, whatever's appropriate for our particular classroom needs. So if this student is doing a really good job, I can say, wow, they're really working hard today. So let's add it in. And notice that the positive has been incremented here. Now let me go into that student one more time, and I'm going to say they need work on something. Unfortunately, they're working hard, but they're talking at a turn. So I'll take one down. Notice in the drop-down menu that appeared there in that little bubble that we also had an opportunity to write something, so we can take some notes. So again, this will become a database of behaviors, both positive and the needs work, the negative behaviors. And there are ways that you can report on this, and you can see them in different ways. And one way that teachers of younger students use this app is they project these little avatars with the first names, and then you can see how the students can feel like, wow, I'm really getting ahead here. I've got more green points, as opposed to deducting and getting in the red zone here. So it's easy to use. One other thing, if I've got a group of students and I want to select several, I could take several students if I wanted to, and then I can hit the bottom where it says to award these students. I could say, well, these are all on task. I'll give them all at one time. And again, notice I can also make some notes there if I choose. So bottom line here is this is an easy to use app. It is free for teachers. It's easy to connect and communicate with families as well as students. And behavior tracking is very easy when you're in the middle of teaching. So that's a little idea of Class Dojo. Let's now get a quick overview of several apps that a teacher could use in terms of tracking behavior in the classroom. And we'll culminate today by having an activity in which you'll examine these in a little greater detail. Edicio, the teacher's gradebook, the nice thing is it's free, and there's a pro version, as exists with most apps. There's also a school-wide version in case your school decides to opt into using this software. It's a learning management system. It handles student assessment, lesson planning, and class scheduling. So you can see this as a more robust app compared to Class Dojo. It looks to tackle more and become a whole learning management system. One of the nice features is it unifies management, assessment, and communication with families and students and puts it all in one app. Another app that is similar that would also be very good for upper grades in secondary ed would be Teacher Kit. And again, there's a free version, there's a pro version per month or an annual fee. And this turns into being a personal organizer for the teacher. It allows you to track many different aspects of management, like your grades, attendance, and also behavior. So again, it's another app. It's another approach to management and supporting management, and also not very expensive. If you like Class Dojo for middle level students, here's another similar app to Class Dojo. Again, there's a free version and there's a pro version with an annual fee. It has different graphics. It has a little different approach. So if you're working with younger students, maybe this would be an app that could help you track student behavior and attendance and other things. Let me introduce one other app just to show you the spectrum of what can be recorded and what apps can do for you. When we look at the functionality of the apps that we've mentioned so far, you can figure that those are the primary things that teachers need when they're teaching in the classroom. But sometimes teachers need something that goes beyond and supports even greater. So here's one, See Beyond Behavior. This app, again, not very expensive, but this is more heavy duty, so to speak, behavior tracking software. And it's designed not just for teachers, but for families and also for teams in schools. And it collects all types of data. It tracks data over time. So you can look at things like medication, and you can look at items like, well, is the student experiencing headaches or other kinds of ailments or reporting different issues going on. So when we look at those health variables, when we look at those environmental variables, maybe some of those are influencing behavior. So again, for many teachers, this is going beyond the functionality that we typically need. But it's good to know that there are apps that will help you go even beyond should you need to move to that level. To wrap up today's class and to further process the content that we considered, let's participate in an online discussion in which we consider two apps. So I'll have a list of the apps and resources on Blackboard so you can learn more about the apps and explore them more and see some reviews on these apps. And I'd like you to choose two apps and let's talk about them. I provided a series of questions, as you could see here in the video. Don't feel you have to respond to every single question, but ideally, when we all discuss as a group, we will cover all these different questions. Like, how do you see the app? What are your reactions? How is it supporting the classroom management and the recording of student behavior? Does it have a nice interface? Is it easy to retrieve and analyze and record behavior? Does it support communication with families and possibly administrators? In your view, is it user-friendly? And the bottom line is, could you use this in your classroom, and how could you use it? I hope you enjoy looking at all this content, and we look forward to seeing you online and seeing you back in class in person.